Welcome, everyone, to this very special panel edition of Talk Wrestling. I still like special work because all it is panels anymore. Every time I come back for Talk Wrestling, it's a panel. I am joined by the NoDQ elite, if you will. I've got the boss man himself. No, not Ray Traylor. He is NoDQ's own, the main man, Aaron Rift. We've got the author of Pain from NoDQ.com, David Payne, up there. And, of course, the Pennsylvania station himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Greg Cherry. I have brought you guys in for the very last NoDQ broadcast, if I'm right about Aaron, before WrestleMania. Is that true?
Well, there might be a few more videos going up. I mean, a lot of stuff happening with WrestleMania coming up, so there's no shortage of content to discuss. Let's just put it that way.
As Vinnie Mac always said, anything can happen. Anything can happen here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. So for now, this is my last appearance until at least Sunday. So let's get into it. What I wanted to do is I put it out there to the Twitterverse, if you will, and Aaron and Dave and Greg all graciously retweeted. I love you guys for that. And repost on Facebook, which is even better because Facebook gets no love from us at all. As far as the except for Aaron. Social media, Aaron blows up on everybody, but the rest of us kind of like don't really do the wrestling thing on social media so much. So on Facebook. But I wanted to know what the Twitterverse, if you will, wanted to know about anything from WrestleMania, past, present, future, then, now, forever, if you will. And I got a few on Twitter, a couple Instagram, a couple Facebook, so I'm just going to throw them out to you guys, and I'll answer as well. Let's jump into it. Let's go to Twitter first, since that was the most prolific response. First one comes from Dennis Ryan, at DRyanWrestling. What is your favorite WrestleMania main event from the modern era? And he says stadium era in parentheses, so I'm assuming post-WrestleMania 22, because 22 was at the Allstate Arena, and everyone since then has been inside a huge stadium. And I'll start with you, boss man.
Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker, WrestleMania 25.
Is there really an argument amongst any of us on that match at this point?
I doubt it.
Well, you said main event, didn't you?
It was probably worth it.
Yeah, Aaron, that's a good point. WrestleMania main event.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that was the main event.
Okay, fair enough.
That was really the only match besides the Hardys.
Agreed, yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about the final match to close out the show, the last match of the night, I will go with WrestleMania 30, Daniel Bryan versus Batista versus Randy Orton, with Bryan winning the title.
If we're going on strictly a main event, I think I got to agree with that. Especially, you and I, Aaron, following Bryan as close as we did all those years, seeing him get that moment after being, he was world champion for a cup of coffee, and he'd won the championship at SummerSlam and been jerked around for the next 6 to 8 months, and seeing him get that and not knowing at the time how bad he was injured.
Right.
For the moment, it was like our boy finally got it. It was so incredible.
Your best
David,
friend.
At one time, he was the best friend of wrestling. Honestly, God, he was.
Yeah, and I as well followed him too. I followed him on YouTube. I love the match he had with CM Punk in Ring of Honor. I believe Ricky Steamboat was like the referee. I mean, it was great. He's like the best technical wrestler. So for as far as like a moment goes, of course, it would have to be that one, just as a pure fan. But from a technical standpoint, I think the best match was probably Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. But if we're talking about closing it out, I won't poo-poo on Shawn Michaels, John Cena. That was really the first long, good match John Cena was in as champion to that point at WrestleMania 23. So I was fond of that just because I was there, But I just didn't like WrestleMania 30, the build-up to it, though, because it's like the fans had to hijack a show for Vince to say, okay, we'll go with this little guy named Bryan Danielson. So the leading up to it was tedious, for us anyway.
And, just so we're not all agreeing on everything, because people don't like when we do that, in the popular opinion. I did enjoy WrestleMania 30. It was a great match, but I'm going to throw out a couple other ones that I thought could also be up there, and that would be, out of pure bias, because I was there, The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania 28. Because, I mean, the atmosphere in that stadium was electric for that entire match.
Now, that was a dream match.
I have not heard a crowd stay that up for a WrestleMania main event for a long time before or even since now, honestly.
Well, they spent a better part of the year building that match. Very old school. Like, they hadn't done that really much in the modern era, and they did it with that because it was a throwaway main event the previous year just to build up Rock and Cena. So, that was great.
Yep.
Yeah, and I would also put up there, and I might get a lot of crap for this, but I thought it was a great main event, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
No, it was
because
a good
you know
match.
what? That match was pretty freaking brutal.
It was. I was there for that. It was a good match, and of course, Seth Rollins cashing in Money in the Bank was an amazing moment. The live crowd just absolutely loved Rollins cashing it in. The match itself was pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of agree with David. As far as moment-wise, I think Brian gets the nod here. But if you go on technical match or overall match presentation, everything you guys said. I mean, Rock Cena was good. The main event of 31 was really good, and Michaels and Cena was unbelievable in 23. So there's a lot of debate there. What do you guys out there in YouTube think? Let us know, please.
You could argue Undertaker and Edge too from 24.
I was there for that one, and honestly, I think that had it not followed Michael's Flair, it would have got more attention.
Yeah, I just remember Charles Robinson running down the ramp. That was probably the highlight of that match.
Well, no, what's great is for me sitting in third row from the top watching Little Nate run all the way down that ramp. It's like, is that Charles Robinson?
Yeah,
he's one of the best expressional referees of all time. He really is. There's memes out there of him just making expressions of a move somebody did.
And you know what? He learned under Ric Flair, man. Exactly why he is the way he is, because he learned under Nate, man. He learned from the best.
He's great.
He really is. All right. From Justin, his Twitter handle is LTQ_JG. Good grief. JG, man. Aaron, this is a question in particular for you, but I'll ask you last.
Okay.
Would you say WrestleMania? There you're in position. Greg, you're under the gun here. Would you say WrestleMania 19, which was in Seattle, we almost went to, Aaron, you and I, is overlooked, underrated? If so, then why? I think it's the best ever.
All right. Well, I said this when we were ranking the WrestleManias. I thought 19 was very underrated. I thought it was one of the best WrestleManias of all time, top to bottom. I mean, you start with the Cruiserweight match. Technically, you start with the tag title match between RVD and Kane against Morley and Regal. But top to bottom, that card was fantastic. You had match after match after match after match that was incredible. You had Angle Lesnar. You had Hogan McMahon, which for what it was actually pretty great. You had Rock Austin 3 at WrestleMania. You had Jericho Michaels. You had Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio for the Cruiserweight title. You look at that card, it's like, man, I want to watch this over and over and over and over again because it is a great show top to bottom. I can't say enough about WrestleMania 19. So, yeah, I think it's up there for top 5 manias of all time.
Oh, I agree.
Mr. Payne?
Yeah, I mean, I watch that one every year around this time. In fact, I was going to fire that one up today, and just as a fan alone, seeing Michaels and Jericho, again, that was like when Jericho first came out, everybody said, oh, man, he's just like Shawn Michaels, same charisma, same long hair, and so to see that itself was great. And I had totally forgotten about Mysterio and Hardy, what a match that was. So I think it used to be underrated, but I think it's getting a lot more attention now. Just like, we put up polls, and obviously people voted. That was voted, the second best one next to 17, so... Yeah, I think that's one definitely worth watching. So for anybody that hasn't, please go back and watch WrestleMania 19. It's a great one.
Aaron, you and I were literally a month away from being in the car driving to Seattle for this because it was that well hyped. It was that well built. Would you agree?
I mean, absolutely.
What happened? Your car break down?
No, it just didn't work out.
It just didn't work out. Money wasn't there, and just it was the matter of logistics trying to get all three of us away from our jobs. It was too much of a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
right.
Just, too many issues with that. But yeah, I mean, on NoDQ.com, the rankings for WrestleMania, as we talked about in the recent WrestleMania video, it was ranked number 2 by visitors at NoDQ.com. So it's certainly not considered to be underrated. People rate it very highly, and I even said it's my personal favorite WrestleMania, ahead of 17. So there you go.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. It's not underrated at this point. I think it's still kind of overlooked by people that don't visit NoDQ.com because when you talk about the great WrestleManias of all time, 19 barely gets mentioned. I think that's a lot of phooey because I think it was very well built. Every match had a main event feel, and I think everything was executed from top to bottom, just sheer perfection the whole way through.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, next one's from Hot Rod on 276 on Twitter. His Twitter handle is mjohns276. Well, okay, this is a kind of a vague, broad 20-year question here, so forgive me. But what was your least favorite match from WrestleManias 12 through 32? And I will start because I'm going to get a lot of crap for my answer because people actually like this match for some ungodly reason. Piper and Goldust.
Oh, wow, I disagree with that, Jeff.
I know. Hang on, let me explain. The only reason they did that was to get Dustin major heat and to give Piper one last hurrah. But the majority of that match was the OJ chase.
Yeah.
replay.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the video, the aerial footage.
That was so corny. I mean, and Vince totally like buying into it, like totally playing along. It was like, oh my! It made my head hurt even at 12 years old. I'm going, oh god, 13. Excuse me. I'm going, oh god, the whole way through. And
that punt, the contact, it was like, bam.
Well, yeah, the actual physicality of it was unbelievable. Dustin took some serious chops, no question about that. He got the shit beat out of him, no question about that. But the overall, the buildup was kind of lame when you consider how great Roddy Piper is and how even back then Goldust was a little too over the top. And then the execution was like, okay, so we built all this. They have 5 minutes in the parking lot. Then they have the OJ case for 20 minutes for the rest of the show, and then they fight in the ring for 3 minutes, and Goldust is in his lingerie. Okay,
I thought it was entertaining. I mean, I disagree with you, Jeff. I think it was entertaining. Yeah, keep in mind, the original plan was Razor Ramon versus Goldust, and then Razor got suspended, so they had to go
that
with
was
Piper.
Scott's bad.
Yeah, it was. I would say there are a lot of choices. So we're talking about the most disliked big match at WrestleMania from 12 to 32.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I have a lot of them. I mean, Triple H versus Randy Orton from WrestleMania 25, Triple H versus Chris Jericho. I know this one's a controversial opinion, but I always thought the end of an era match was a little bit disappointing, besides the end with the three of them embracing at the end. I thought it was just...
Whoa. Okay, no. I'm going to totally take over my own show here. That's bullshit. No, hang on. Okay. I literally sit here every freaking year watching that match on this computer or this phone or that TV, knowing what's going to happen in that Hell in a Cell match. And when Shawn Michaels starts crying, goddamn it, so do I.
Yeah, I thought the end was great. I just thought the match itself was... I never was convinced Undertaker was going to lose that match. But that's just my opinion.
Okay, I'm going to interject here also because I was there for it. That crowd, again, much like Cena Rock, we were on our feet the entire match. When Shawn Michaels hit Sweet Chin Music on The Undertaker, I freaking leapt out of my chair, was like, no, this can't be happening. The DX finished to Taker.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Greg. The minute he hit that Chin Music and Triple H went for the pin, Michaels curled into a freaking little 40-year-old ball and was sobbing. You can't generate that in real life anymore. Right. You just can't do it.
Remember when they did the backstage segment and they zoomed in on him and he had his googly eye going on?
And here's the other thing. Let me say something here. What did they do with the cell in that match?
They didn't have to, though.
What was the point of having a Hell in a Cell match if it's not going to be utilized?
They don't always have to use the cell. The fact of the cell presents an aura.
You know who else was critical on that match? Bret Hart. He was vocal about how that match could have been so much better.
I agree with Brett. It was 4 out of 10. Honestly, I know it's an unpopular opinion. I love the ending, though, with the three of them embracing at the end on the stage. But I thought the match itself was very disappointing for a Hell in a Cell match. I wanted to see the cell being used, and I felt Shawn out there. To me, the whole thing was very predictable. I never expected Undertaker to lose the match.
I'll agree with you, Aaron, only because the ending where they all walked out arm in arm, hugging like three Lost Warriors finally taking their last bow.
That was awesome.
Meant poop. You know what? But it meant poop. Because
if it was end of an era, why are we still seeing Triple H and Undertaker?
I was going to say, Undertaker's wrestled every year since then. Triple H wrestled every year since then.
He's main evented one.
And to be
honest, he did a couple, yeah.
You know what else I was sick of? I was sick of Undertaker doing repeat matches. Like they did Shawn Michaels, and then they did Shawn Michaels again, then they did Triple H again, then they did Triple H a third time. You know, I wanted to see Undertaker against different people. But that's just my personal...
But, Jeff, we're talking about the worst, and perhaps that was overrated. I wouldn't go as far as saying it was the worst. Now, if we go back to WrestleMania 12, we actually remember the Piper. We remember the Iron Man match. But one match that I'll say was completely crappy from that was the squash match of the Ultimate Warrior and Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yes.
Because I'm critical about Triple H and saying that he's maybe slightly overrated. And so far, we've named 4 matches with Triple H that have been awful. So, I mean, maybe it proves my point, Great executive, though.
Well, you know what the thing is? Hunter Hearst Helmsley in 1996 is not Triple H in 2017. Okay, it's just not the same guy.
What was that, Aaron? He's what?
Back then, he was.
He was a jobber.
You also have to keep in mind he was the low man on the click totem pole.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't Sean Waltman.
No, Waltman had much more credibility than Hunter did, absolutely. And not only that,
as Jim Cornette said, sorry to interrupt you on your own show, Jeff, but Jim Cornette said that X-Pac was so irrelevant that WWE let him go to jump to the other side. Remember that promo?
Well, we're going to keep my opinions about Jim Cornette off my show because I'll get thrown off YouTube.
No, let's make this controversial.
All right, Cornette's a piece of crap. I think him coming back for the Hall of Fame is simply strictly PR for WWE's part. Like, look, we can let Jim Cornette come back and play nice. He's not going to play nice. He's going to play nice for 5 minutes, induct rock and rolls, and then go back to his YouTube channel, go back to his Twitter, and be a little asshole again. Is that the way he's going to do? He's doing it
about getting blocked on Twitter.
He hasn't blocked me. He probably will now.
Well, you actually have to tweet him something for him to see it.
Well, exactly, and that's fine. I don't really care. The thing is, I know why people block me because I am an asshole to them. I don't even care. Josh Matthews has blocked me for like 3 years, and he's blocked all of us.
Greg
and you know what? Josh Matthews is a douchebag, and I will say that every time I talk about him. He's a little jerk. He was mean to fans more than once in front of me that I saw. He was mean to me more than once at SummerSlam Access.
Another Tony Schiavone.
He's actually worse. Tony has a tone. Josh hasn't.
Well, exactly. Tony can announce, but I'm saying, in fact, when he didn't like the wrestlers, he didn't like the fans. I've heard stories that Schiavone was like that too. But yeah, Josh Matthews sucked.
Well, no, Schiavone would go to the lengths of intentionally elevating his seat on Nitro above Bobby and Mike to make himself look more important. He actually did that. It's documented by Bobby Heenan on our show.
Yeah.
But Tony now does a podcast. He's a much different person. He's much nicer. He's much calmer. I've yet to see Josh Matthews in kayfabe or in real life atone for his being a douche.
Well, we all agree on that. He is a jerk. But Schiavone actually has NoDQ.com's Twitter account blocked for some unknown reason. I have no idea why.
I always give Schiavone credit. I like Schiavone.
Yeah, I never said anything bad about Schiavone on NoDQ's YouTube or Twitter account.
Tony must have heard the old interview with Bobby again and blocked it just because.
Maybe. I have no idea. I honestly have no idea.
Right. Sorry, Greg. I know.
Let me because I still have to answer the question. I'm surprised that this match wasn't brought up in the worst match between 12 and 32. How is nobody remembering Big Show versus Akibono?
Because I tried to forget.
Yeah, I think I blocked it out.
Also up there, Christy Hemme versus Trish Stratus and Melina versus Ashley, both women's title matches. Those were god awful.
Well, I think the thing with the WrestleMania 21 matches, Aaron was there. He's trying to block that stuff out of his head.
I'm actually trying to block out Cena and JBL because I pretty much.
Yeah, that was bad. Lawrence Taylor. He was in it. 14 or 13, was it?
11. So we're out of the running in this one. The question.
That's right. Okay.
But yes, it was bad. All right, we went like X-Pac off the rails on that. That was really bad. Okay, moving right along. We have 2 questions from David Anderson on Twitter. David Anderson 1. Actually, I'll go and ask this. The first one is: do you think if Roman Reigns beats the Undertaker, they will do Lesnar versus Roman next year at WrestleMania? The 2 guys who beat Taker at WrestleMania 1-on-1.
Yes.
Ooh. Yeah, I can see that.
Well, the thing is, they did that already at WrestleMania, and it ended up great because Seth Rollins cashed in. Do they dare repeat that again, knowing that they can never top what they did?
That's reportedly the plan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I want so bad.
The title too.
I want so bad to have some sort of fan vote on the board of directors to tell it, no, stop, Vince. You're going the wrong way.
Well, the thing is, Lesnar and Reigns is unsettled. They never had a decisive end to that match with the 2 of them. So there's still a match there to do with those guys for them to settle their score, and it's just a matter of when. I don't think it's if. I think it's when. Will it be at SummerSlam, or will they actually hold off on it till next year's WrestleMania and have Reigns send Lesnar packing?
Well, I think it really depends on how Roman ends his night Sunday. Yeah. Because if Aaron's hair turns pink Monday morning,
won't happen.
Then, well, I'm just saying if that happens, then he's a full-blown heel, which means he's going against Lesnar, who's supposed to be a full-blown heel. How are they going to work that into SummerSlam?
Maybe we'll be Cena then.
What I'm saying is they have to, if they're going to turn Roman heel Sunday, they have to build him and Lesnar for an entire year to get Roman back on the light side of things first.
Very true. And they can't beat a dead horse. They can't have them wrestle 18 times on Raw in between, because they do that so often now, and
it's really awful. It ruined everything. It's terrible.
They can wrestle on house shows, and that's fine, but why do they need to wrestle every single week? We see this with the tag division too, and that's what kills it. So if they do it the right way and build it the right way, it very well could work. But
Greg, what do you think? Should they do this match next year?
Well, to Aaron's credit, he is right. They didn't have a conclusive finish between the two of them because Rollins cashed in. So I think I would not be opposed to them doing it again. I'd be fine if they were doing one-on-one, just a regular match, not for the championship, because that's also been in the reports. It was supposed to be for the Universal Championship. They don't need that.
No, they don't.
The Goldberg-Lesnar match doesn't need that this Sunday either.
No, they don't. Good grief.
Because, I mean, I ranted on that yesterday, but...
It's okay. No worries.
Yeah, I would be okay with Reigns and Lesnar again, just not for a championship.
All right. I'm going to save David's second question for last because it's kind of an important... It's a very debatable question, so I'll get to that one last. Broken... God, your Twitter names are so crazy. Broken Sheam, at Sheam Thanga on Twitter. Yeah. What if WWE swerves us Sunday by debuting the Revival instead of having the Hardys debut at WrestleMania?
That'd be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing the Revival come up, but you have to wonder where would they be put in, because they'd have to be in the Raw Tag Team title match if they throw anybody in. They're not going to throw them in the Battle Royal because the Usos aren't doing anything other than that.
Exactly.
I didn't expect the Hardys to really make an appearance until after WrestleMania anyways, right, Aaron?
They might be at WrestleMania. I'm not expecting to see Revival there. I think that's unlikely.
The Hardys contract is up Saturday night, 11:59.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
Yeah, they could be there.
And as we know, WWE's referencing the broken tables at WrestleMania 25.
And they said wonderful on the WWE Universe account.
Wonderful. Yes, they did.
Yeah, we did not talk about this at all on our predictions video of the possibility
we really
of the Hardys
didn't,
showing up.
It was so freaking over. We had so much to talk about. Jeez.
Yeah, we overbooked every match.
We really did, as usual. But yeah, the Hardys debuting between now and like next Sunday is almost a lock, I think.
Yeah, maybe after WrestleMania. They might not show up at WrestleMania.
They gotta have one big surprise. It's either gonna be Kurt Angle or the Hardys, right, Jeff?
If it comes into that, I would say Kurt Angle then, because Kurt Angle deserves a spot. Being in the Hall of Fame, he gets his moment in the sun. Does something to build towards something else. But that's just me. Greg's from Pittsburgh. He would like to help a whole lot, I'm sure. So
yeah.
All right, this is from Bradley Cheney, at Cheney Bradley. In your opinion, when should Asuka move up? And should Carmella, Nia Jax, or Emma, or Dana Brooke be moved to NXT after WrestleMania? So it's tied to WrestleMania because they're talking about moving Asuka up and one of these 1, 2, 3, 4 girls down.
I would say Carmella should be moved down then. If that's a switch, bait and switch, then that's what I would do. But there's always room for more, I suppose, on that roster.
Do you think Asuka's ready at this point?
Yes.
Okay. I think Asuka's ready. I think she's beyond ready. I mean, she's put on great matches in NXT. But like I said with the NXT predictions, I think she continues to hold the title.
Yeah.
Or kind of like Kevin did.
She carries the women's division in NXT.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Right.
And I think I'm going to say that if I was going to put somebody down there, it'd be Dana Brooke.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because honestly, she had potential for days teamed up with Emma in NXT.
I like the gimmick that she did. I
really did too.
Cockiness that she had. I thought that was great.
But we all know Vince likes the bodybuilders.
And that's fine, but if you notice, since she got called up, my dad points it out to me because he's just a freaking nitpicker. She's gained a few pounds since being on the main roster. Like, she's not bodybuilder like in shape anymore. She's actually kind of chunky. So Vince is probably like, meh.
Yeah, that could be it. Hey, they sent Big Show to OVW when he got overweight, right? So,
and you know what? He came back. He was still overweight. Then he had to go away for 2 years before he get himself back in shape instead. So I'm learning through DDP Yoga. I'm trying to teach my brother this. It's all about whether you want to change. That's all it is.
Very true. Starts up here.
All right, let's see. These are from Instagram now. We're going to the Instagram portion of the show. Boston Punk 127. If WWE get a second gimmick battle royal a la 17, which names would you like to see come down the aisle? Some of my picks include Steve Blackman, Gangrel, Brooklyn Brawler, Too Cool, and for shits and giggles, 7 from WCW. Like, why would they have Dustin change makeup for one night? Like, really, guy? Come on.
That's pretty random, but that sounds like the Raw 15th anniversary battle royal. I'm not sure if you guys remember that match.
I remember that. I remember that very well. I remember DiBiase won.
Yeah.
Hey, did win.
In the books, he won the match.
Terms with WWE, and so is Gangrel, to my knowledge. So I could see both of those, obviously. Let's see, who else? Duke the Dumpster Drosy again, right?
Dude, yeah, why not? Squeeze Fred Altman into the freaking Typhoon sites and bring him out there. What the hell?
No, he should come out as Shockmaster.
Yes.
Well, no, because then he has to fall through the Titantron first.
Well, there you go.
Crash right through with his helmet going 3 feet in front
I'm surprised we haven't seen that. We haven't seen the Shockmaster in all this time make an appearance on Raw and trip on something.
Well, we did. No. We did. If you recall, when they were talking about, like, Dusty was on guest hosting, and that was when he turned heel for a minute with Cody or whatever against Randy. They had the Shockmaster come through the wall, and it was Santino under the helmet.
No, that's dumb, though. I mean, the real, Fred Ottman, not Santino.
The real Fred Ottman.
Can you imagine Fred? He probably broke a hip.
Yeah.
They did make reference to it. If anybody watches the Edge and Christian show, they did make reference to it in the first season. So
they did. It was funny.
So
yeah, I wouldn't mind a gimmick battle royal in WrestleMania. Like, do it every year. Screw it.
Just make it a Legends. I like the idea of a Legends battle royal. Just bringing back some of the old names for nostalgia purposes at WrestleMania.
And just throw everybody you normally book in the main event.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Donzilla the Long. I don't know why he's called the Long, but anyway. What's your favorite WrestleMania logo and stage setup? And I'll start with David.
Well, they're so big now. I still, it's kind of, I remember the dainty WrestleMania 10 one where they didn't go down the long aisle. They did the short one and they had the doors that opened like this,
At the Garden, that. Baby. Yep.
But you know what? It's funny because I still go back to one of the worst WrestleManias of all time, yet the set was nice. It was WrestleMania 9. People were getting lifted and you had Julius Caesar and all these people. That was pretty cool for its time. You know what I'm saying? But as far as now, I hear this one this year is supposed to be just like a Rolling Stones concert. It's supposed to be huge. So.
The pictures on NoDQ are freaking amazing. Every time I see Aaron post them, I click it. I just go, wow.
Yeah, they got the big globe, the universal globe with the WrestleMania logo, and they have a big giant ring above the actual ring, on the setup there for the ring.
If they get the Hardys near that thing, we're going to have people dying. Just saying.
Vanguard 1's just got out from that.
What do you guys think? Best WrestleMania set?
And logo.
Logo, yeah.
Go, Aaron. I'm still.
I like WrestleMania 29 setup with the Brooklyn Bridge and the Statue of Liberty. I thought that was a pretty elaborate set. I believe that was the most expensive set WWE ever produced for WrestleMania. I think they spent over $1 million on that one, and this year's might top that. We'll see.
Greg?
All right. I'm going to say, for favorite logo, I enjoyed what people call WrestleMania play button. I just really like the one.
Yeah.
As far as favorite set, I don't want to be biased and say 28 because the set for 28 was kind of meh, in my opinion. And plus, views was blocked by the palm trees for the corners.
Oh, jeez.
I heard the screw the palm trees chants from like lower sections.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like the old Tiger Stadium when you get the $5 seats that be behind the pillar,
Yeah.
Aaron's going what?
Favorite set I might give the 25. I mean, the set for the WrestleMania, the 25th anniversary, even though 26 was the 25th anniversary.
Right,
yeah, I know. God.
I hate watching those, and it's like that's not what anniversary is. But the set from 25 I thought was really good.
And 21, it's a little bit of a bias for me, but 21 WrestleMania Goes Hollywood was pretty cool. And
21 was.
I like WrestleMania 20's logo with the 2 X's. I thought that was a pretty good looking logo.
Yeah,
right.
21 was my favorite set at the time until 29. the Statue of Liberty and everything. But my favorite of all time, set wise and presentation wise, was 9. Like David said, the Vegas thing was unbelievable.
Everybody's in a toga. They got to do that again. That was sweet.
When Jim Ross debuts in a toga, you're gold, man. It's awesome.
That was
my favorite logo, however,
is Jeff Meacham's avatar.
Everybody's avatar. That's right. Sorry about that. Call from school. My favorite logo of all time for WrestleMania, honestly, has got to be WrestleMania 20. Like you said, Aaron, the double X's. I thought it was such a cool looking logo. It was one of the ones that, they really tried very hard to make it look cool because it was just the 20th anniversary of WrestleMania. 20th year WrestleMania. I almost pulled a Greg bad moment there. Sorry about that, Greg. 20th WrestleMania. They had it was simple, but it was effective, and it was bold. It was a really cool logo. So that's my
30 was kind of neat too. 30 with the purple and the New Orleans and the XXX. That was decent.
No, Jeff Meacham's avatar is back.
Sorry, guys. I'm getting a call from my son's school. I apologize. Okay. Next one's from SSBS Fanboy. God, these names on social media. I can't wait to the Facebook question. They're actually real names. Will Arizona ever get another WrestleMania, or is the state too warm and too small?
Maybe. I mean, it depends on the bidding. WWE goes where they can get the most money. If Arizona puts in a big enough bid, then yeah, we could see WrestleMania back in Arizona. But I'm thinking when WrestleMania returns to the West Coast, I think it'll be at the new LA Stadium for the Rams, maybe 2020, 2021. And then keep in mind Vegas with the Raiders going there. They're going to build a stadium there too, so maybe 2023. Cool. I'm thinking it'll be LA and then Las Vegas, so probably not Arizona.
Keep in mind, anytime a new stadium is built and you see the Super Bowl, and within a year you'll see WrestleMania too. I mean, that's kind of how it is with new stadiums.
Or vice versa, WrestleMania first and the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Right, either one. So yeah, you got to take advantage of that new stadium. That'd be a great one.
Yeah,
LA.
I would say the Glendale Stadium where the Cardinals play, where they've had Super Bowl before. It's a great stadium. I mean, Aaron, you were at the WrestleMania, right, Aaron?
No, I was not there for that.
Who was at that one? Somebody knows that one. Anyway,
me.
And it's not too hot. It's dry heat. I'd much rather be 100 degrees there than 100 degrees here in Michigan in the middle of July. Believe me.
Pennsylvania's not much of a. Pennsylvania's pretty humid as well.
Yeah. So
it's funny. Greg's been to WrestleMania in Florida in April, and I'm sure it was wonderfully humid there.
Well, you know what? For the pre-show, it was hot, but once the show got going, it was fine. And this still blows my mind. Taker's entrance, the entire place cooled down 10 degrees instantly.
It's funny. It's funny. I've noticed that over the years, it's something in our internal mechanisms that causes us to get cold when he walks out. I swear to God it is. It's all up here.
Jen said the same thing, too. It's ridiculous.
You know how I know? Because when I watch him on TV, the same thing happens.
The power of the urn.
The power of the urn, I'm telling you, that's what it is. All right.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
I'm in front of Percy. I'm in front of Percy, my presence, damn it. All right. This is from a friend who's been a good friend on Twitter to me. Her name on Instagram is Spicy Palm. She's actually going to WrestleMania this year, but she had a hard time getting tickets. So she wanted to know, do you have any tips for getting WrestleMania tickets? My friends and I want to try to go again for the first time. Oh, I'm sorry. She's not going this year. She's going next year. Try the first time next year. We want to try to get one of the ticket packages. Any tips? Thanks. Now, everybody here has been to at least one WrestleMania. Out of state. Or no, actually,
not
Aaron,
me.
You've been. You've been.
Northern California is almost, it feels like out of state because it's so far from the Los Angeles area.
I'll kind of go in reverse away from me. Aaron, you've been to 2 WrestleManias in California, one literally down the street from you pretty much, one, half a state away. What are your tips on getting tickets for the different WrestleManias?
Well, 21 was very difficult because it was at the Staples Center, and it literally sold out in about 60 seconds. It was bad.
59.2.
I had to go, I think, on StubHub for that. But with WrestleMania 31, I just waited till the last minute. I waited till March to buy tickets. They released more tickets on Ticketmaster, and I actually got really good seats. The only problem was, they had the production tent that was blocking the view of the stage. But beyond that, I had a great view of the ring, awesome view, very close. I would recommend waiting until March, either going on Ticketmaster or just going on StubHub and being patient because the ticket prices do drop the last week or so. But for people traveling out of town, they might not want to take that risk. But there's always going to be tickets available. Even right now, there are tickets available on StubHub that are close to face value. So, patience, for a stadium, you got plenty of time to get tickets. There's no rush. Wait until you can find a good deal on tickets.
David, you were at WrestleMania 23, Battle of the Billionaires. You had a great main event there with Shawn Michaels and John Cena. And did you buy your tickets way in advance? Or did you kind of wait till last minute like Aaron did for 31?
Oh, no. Well, for me, it's a little bit different. My dad was a union guy, iron worker. He worked at Cobo Hall with Teamsters and stuff, and he actually kind of got to befriend a couple of the referees that worked there, one of them being Jack Doan, Chad Patton, another one. And fortunate for me, I was able to continue those friendships. And all I got to do is make a call or send a text, and I usually get looked out for. So, I mean, I've been fortunate enough. I don't usually have to pay. The only thing I really pay for is concerts every now and then. But even then, I know a few Teamsters. So it's good to have connections. About the only connections I really do have other than you guys. So
I feel you there. Absolutely. Greg, you were at WrestleMania in Miami with Rock Cena, the once in a lifetime, which wasn't. But I'm sure tickets for that were a pain in the butt.
You know what? Jen and I and my best friend who also went, we actually got our tickets about 6 months in advance.
Nice.
So we wanted to make sure that we all got seats. We all got them together, and that wasn't a problem. And then we had to invite my brother-in-law and his family also, but they got seats elsewhere because we couldn't get them together because we bought them later.
Right.
The thing with buying the tickets, I noticed when I tried to buy tickets for the Royal Rumble when it was in Pittsburgh a few years ago, buying the tickets a couple weeks before, the ticket prices were jack sky high because I wanted to buy them before that when they were a little bit cheaper. But it's like I'm still going to the Rumble, but I'm paying a little bit more to go.
That's why Pearl Jam boycotted Ticketmaster, because Ticketmaster used to be infamous for jacking up their fees like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if I may say, I want to use this. Oh, I'm sorry, Greg. Go ahead.
I was going to say StubHub and WWE are now like official partners, so that might be the way to go now.
Yep.
So StubHub's always been good to me. I've never had a problem.
Yeah, and you could pick your own tickets, and also just be careful not to, if WrestleMania is outdoors, don't get seats where you have the pillar or the palm tree or whatever blocking your view.
Yeah. See, for me, my WrestleMania thing was two completely different scenarios. When I went in 2000, we had a SmackDown in the late '99 that was at the Pond. This is like when Staples Center just opened, so there was no wrestling at Staples Center yet. Actually, the first wrestling event at Staples Center was Nitro, believe it or not.
No, it wasn't.
But yes, it was.
The first Raw at Staples Center was in November '99, and then the Nitro was January 2000.
Okay.
Because it was Sid versus Nash. That was January 2000.
Awful match.
The Staples Center Raw was November.
Awful story.
With Triple H, Triple H and Stephanie with the test wedding. That whole shenanigans.
And I got half the brain that you do.
Freaking Sid. Okay. Well, anyway, the SmackDown that was around that time is when they announced the pre-sale for WrestleMania, because my friends were all at that SmackDown and came back and put the code in and didn't buy me a ticket. So I thought I was going to be left out. But a few months later, I ended up getting a ticket that was away from them. I thought it was going to be next to them, but it wasn't. I ended up getting closer than they did and paying less. It was awesome.
Awesome.
So for me, yes, sir.
I just wanted to thank Jimmy Corderas, Chad Patton, and Jack Doan, because I want to use this forum. Thank you for hooking me up all these years. You guys are the best. All right, I'm done.
All right, there we go. Kind of like Jesse Ventura, Ted Terrell and Jay. You got to get the plug in there. As far as WrestleMania 24, I was in the David Payne school of luck, because I had just lost my job at working at a major retail establishment, and my dad took pity on my poor broke ass and bought me Disney World tickets and WrestleMania tickets. So,
nice.
Wow.
And we got, it was in January, so it wasn't the best seats in the house by any means for either Hall of Fame or WrestleMania. But that was more of an experience of a week than it was just WWE or Disney. It was both of them together. Yes, sir.
I want to say, for the Hall of Fame, we actually bought seats way up, and because they didn't sell out the place, we actually got tickets like way lower. Like, we had seats up in the 400s. They said, no, you're going to get seats in the 100s for free. I was like, sweet.
Now, see,
way closer.
See, the problem with that is the first time Ric Flair got inducted was when I went in 2008, and that was the Amway Arena, which is going to be Hall of Fame tomorrow night, sold the hell out. Like you couldn't walk in that place like it was terrible. And that was, of course, the Hall of Fame where The Rock went off the rails for about 20 minutes. God, we were there forever. Anyway, on to the next question. These are from Facebook. First one is from Adam Diamond. Will this year's WrestleMania be better than WrestleMania 17, which is the best in my opinion?
No.
Greg, I'll start with you since Aaron, Aaron's supposed to wait for my cues. It's my show. Greg, go ahead.
No, I don't think it will be. But to be fair, we don't really know until Sunday. I mean, Sunday could be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. We don't know that right now. It's unfair to say because they could pull out a whole bunch of stuff that's like, this show is freaking awesome that we don't see coming yet. Like, we look at the card and it's like, yeah, these matches are good. This match will suck. This match will be all right. But we don't really know until the show happens. So I'll probably answer this question Sunday night when we do the review show. I can't answer that right now.
David?
Yeah, well, it's like apples and oranges, too. I mean, the company's changed, the business has changed, the roster is different. So you're working with different dynamics here than you were back then when you had just a stacked roster, you know what I mean? So it's kind of apples and oranges. And like Greg says, it's a little unfair to say that just based on paper. I mean, every year I look at the Detroit Lions roster and I say, oh, man, they're going to the Super Bowl. And they disappoint me every year. So, I mean, on paper is paper. Aaron.
Go Cowboys. Aaron, go ahead.
There's only one way that people will like WrestleMania 33 better than 17 or 19, and that's a Roman Reigns heel turn. Only way.
Or Cena.
Just so they can see your hair pink.
I'm telling you, if Roman turned heel, I think that would be their best shot of WrestleMania 33 going down in history as the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
And I think if Roman turns full-fledged heel, it proves they watch our show. It just proves it right there.
But it ain't going to happen. Highly unlikely in all likelihood.
Or if Cena pulls the swerve out of nowhere and hits the AA on Nikki and just turns to be like, that would be.
Do not threaten me with a good time, Greg. Oh my God.
That would be the most awesome thing of all time. That would make it the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah, it would.
All right,
I'll dye my hair if CM Punk shows up. How about that? There's my stipulation. If CM Punk shows up, I'll dye my hair whenever you want.
All right.
All right, cool.
All right, let's see. Where's the question? Okay. Last question. We're going back to Twitter, David Anderson again, because this is a oft-debated situation all the time in the wrestling world. In your guys' opinions, is Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25 the best match of all time? And I will start with Aaron, since I want to jump in first. Go ahead, Aaron.
First for me is Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. Shawn and Undertaker's close second.
How close?
Very close. I mean, Bret and Austin, in my opinion, was not only the greatest match in WWE history, but the most important match in WWE history in terms of turning the company around in the war against WCW. Shawn Michaels and Undertaker did not have that kind of impact, but I would say Shawn Michaels and Undertaker was as close to a perfect match as you could possibly ask for.
All right, now, keep in mind, he literally says best match of all time, so it could be any match in the history of ever. So keep that in mind as your answer.
Right. That's my
Greg?
answer. Greg.
Okay, Greg.
Go to David, because I'm trying to think of matches better than Shawn Taker.
Well,
Mr. Payne.
Yeah, it's definitely top three. I mean, it's hard. I mean, because sometimes I could be in the mood where I'll favor one match over the other. I mean, I still say Steamboat Savage. Obviously my favorite personal match, and I hate to tag along with Aaron, but it always has been Bret Hart, Steve Austin. Perfect double turn. It really was kind of the unofficial start of the Attitude Era. Steve Austin bleeding in the sharpshooter, Ken Shamrock. I mean, the whole thing was just beautifully done. And let's face it, that's the only thing we remember really from WrestleMania 13.
Absolutely.
I mean,
but fans on NoDQ.com voted Shawn Michaels and Undertaker as the greatest WrestleMania match in WWE history. So that's
three for me. Yeah.
Okay. Greg?
You know what? I'm having trouble coming up with a better one than Shawn Taker. Bret Austin was awesome, obviously. Shawn Bret in the Iron Man match was awesome, too. And as a big
Bret Owen even.
Yeah, Bret Owen was a technical masterpiece. I'm going to have to say that Shawn and The Undertaker WrestleMania 25 was the greatest of all time.
Now, let me ask all three of you this before I give my answer, because my answer is included in this, because I feel this is up there with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. Have you guys seen the Steamboat Flair trilogy?
It's been a long time.
That's the one they did on WCW Saturday night, and they had like a series of matches.
No. It was 3 matches in 1989. It was the Chi-Town Rumble where Steamboat won the NWA Championship. There was a rematch of Clash of Champions in April where there was a controversial win where Steamboat retained the championship. And then they went to Nashville for Wrestle War in May, and Flair regained the championship.
Great matches. All 3 of them.
Yeah, great.
Most of the experts, if you want to call us or whatever experts, say that those 3 matches are the best 3 matches in history, including the ever-lovable Jim Cornette.
Yeah, well, that second match, that it was in the Louisiana Superdome, and they had something like 2,000 people there. Place was empty.
Well, but honestly, when it comes to stuff like that, you can't really judge the match quality on the number of asses. Because honestly, Aaron, no, let me finish, Dave. Aaron, how many people attend PWG on a monthly basis? No,
that's true, but the thing about PWG is, yes, they have awesome matches, and I do think they would draw more if they ran in a bigger building. But it's really hard to say. I mean, looking back in history, I also when I talk about the greatest matches of all time, not just the quality of the match, but how the match changed the industry.
Okay.
Flair and Steamboat, no doubt, made a lot of a huge impact, I would say. So yeah, I mean, the matches are awesome.
I mentioned PWG because AJ and Daniels had a freaking hour-long match in front of 300 people in a sweat box, and we all were marking off our butts for an hour straight. So
PWG's booking armories, they're not booking the Pontiac Silverdome and only filling 1,000 seats. You got to do it within your means. So if you cram in 300 people in an armory, it's better than empty arena.
Well, but yeah, remember, WCW 89 was not making money. WCW didn't make money until Bischoff took over and ran it for a couple years after that. They started making money.
Very true.
So, my personal opinion as I sit here right now is Shawn Michaels Undertaker is the greatest match that I've ever seen on TV, on pay-per-view. The greatest match I ever saw live in person was Daniels and AJ from PWG and May of 2005. I know, yeah. An hour-long PWG title versus Team X Division title, and they went to a draw.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if we're going to include shows that we've been to live, then I have to throw this one out there. Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon in the second ladder match at SummerSlam 1995.
Which was damn near almost as good as the first one. It was really good.
They kind of screwed up the ending, though. I think Shawn was trying to bell and it fell off. That kind of brought it down a little bit for me. Best live match I've seen was Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 21.
Oh,
which literally changed everything for both those guys for a long time.
To me, that's right up there with Shawn and Undertaker, quite frankly.
Definitely. Yeah. And the thing is, you can't put Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels opposite each other and not have 4 or 5 stars every time, despite what Meltzer says.
That was as close to perfect as possible. The crowd was engaged in that entire match from start to finish.
Yeah, and when you look back at Kurt Angle, man, he during that time he had the best matches on the card consistently, dude. When you think about it, he really did, man.
Aaron, you mentioned a very interesting word when you're talking about Michaels and Kurt Angle, as close to perfect as it's going to be. I still say that Perfect and Bret Hart from either SummerSlam 91 or King Ring 93 should be at least top 5 or top 10. Those matches were unbelievable.
They're
91, sure. Yeah, especially with Hennig working with a broken back, you couldn't even tell. And Piper's commentary was great. I mean, that was.
There is no way Kurt should have freaking even moved out of the locker room, and he pulled off a 5-star match with one of the upcoming greats of all time. It was an unbelievable story.
So storyline is a big part of it, then, right?
I would agree that, which is why Andy Daniels isn't so high up there, because it wasn't a story. It was just those two best friends going for the championship. It was awesome. But in terms of storyline, presentation, and match execution, I still say to this day that I will agree with Aaron in that Austin and Brett not only had a great run up to it and a great run after it for the rest of '97, but the match itself changed the game forever.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to throw one out there since we're talking about Austin Brett. What about Austin Shawn following year? I memean, that match really catapulted Austin to lead the Attitude Era. And it was a fantastic match. And Shawn.
You know what? Greg, I know you love Shawn Michaels, and you're probably going to want to not have me fly out after I say this, but had Shawn been at 100% for that match, it could have been one of the greatest of all time.
But even Austin,
I agree with Jeff.
Because of that.
But the thing is, Michaels pulled off a masterpiece within his means.
Yeah, he did.
But it wasn't Shawn Michaels from 94, 96.
It wasn't
it was
a classic Shawn Michaels match.
It was Shawn Michaels trying to make sure the torch was passed before he had to walk away.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm not saying that was the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. I'm just saying what it meant to the industry.
It was a big moment.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Austin to win the
Yeah,
title.
with Tyson
Absolutely.
being there. And
Shawn obviously had the WrestleMania matches. I mean, Jericho, Angle, Taker. I'd even throw his match with Vince up there because
Absolutely.
just beat the crap out of Vince.
That one match of the year, PWI in 2006.
Yeah.
There you go.
So there you go. All right, well, guys, lovely debate. I'm definitely have you guys on at least once a month for payoff. I'm gonna try to do individual shows again because the people are on my ass about not doing the shows anymore. But we'll see how the things go. Let's see. At Aaron Rift, at SmartMark420, at PA Sensation on Twitter. You can find him on Instagram as well, and you can find Aaron on Facebook if you dare. Greg on social media as well. PA Sensation on Twitter and Instagram, right?
Yep.
And SmartMark420 on both Twitter and Instagram, Dave?
I don't do Instagram. This is the most I've ever been on camera, quite frankly. But Facebook is SmartMark420 as well. So.
Well, you know what? You're actually on Instagram. You just don't use it because I found your account. You just don't use it anymore.
Yeah, it's like a 2-year-old picture on there. So
it is. Yeah, it's a true story.
Yeah.
All right. So let's allow me to say goodbye on behalf of myself because I'm not gonna be on camera until Sunday. So guys, thank you for coming on. We will see you everybody Sunday, WrestleMania. Watch it where you can watch it. If you can't watch it, follow Aaron's coverage on NoDQ because you know he's going to be doing it because that's his job, damn it. All right, guys, we will see you all next time.